Are you sick of voting? Well, get ready because there's more to come. I'm Charles Blaine, and this is Texas Tomorrow.
Are you worried about your kids' future? You should be. You're listening to Texas Tomorrow with Charles Blaine. Join Charles as he talks about the people and issues that are affecting you and your family at the local level of government.
We have a lot of elections in Texas, and I mean a lot. For some of us, we just voted in November municipal elections, and then December runoffs, and then, of course, there was the March primary election, and then now we're in the middle of May runoffs for that election. But on top of that, this year, we get to vote for Appraisal District Board of Directors. So you might not have heard of appraisal districts before, or you might have, and you just don't know what they do. But either way, that's fine. So every county in Texas has an appraisal district, and it's a government entity created by the state, and it has the task of appraising all property within a county. So residential property, commercial property, business property. And the appraisal districts determine the value of the property, and then your cities, counties, school districts, and other local entities use that to set your tax rate. And they use the value, and then they base the budget and tax rate and everything that moving forward off of that. So it's quite important. And so here's an example of how important it can be. In 2023, the city of Pearland approved a $110 million budget. They used the appraisal values from the appraisal district to set the tax rate. And they determined how much money they were going to have and then built the budget off of that. But the problem is the appraisal district, due to a worksheet error, overstated the value of the total property by $1.3 billion. Like I said, it was a worksheet error. So Pearland thought their values were $1.3 billion higher than they actually were. So when it was corrected, they had already passed the budgeting plan accordingly, but everything had to be adjusted from there. From how many officers they could hire, to how many road miles could be repaired, trash surveys, and all the other things that you expect to have as a daily service as a citizen. So it really is important. It'll impact your day-to-day life. And it has been a different scenario. Tarrant County Appraisal District came under a ransomware attack recently. And even more recently, the group that did the attack put out the information that they obtained on the dark web. And they set a ransom for $700,000. And while some of the information obtained by appraisal districts is already public, some of it is not. They often collect social security numbers and driver's license numbers and tax ID numbers. That's not to say that the Tarrant County Appraisal District could have stopped that, or that an elected board would have prevented it. But if information does come out that they could have prevented it, or Tarrant County residents disagree with how they responded to it, up until this point, they wouldn't have really had any course of action to take against that board. Now they do. And there's one more example, because I really, really do love examples. So in 2017, Hurricane Harvey hit the city of Houston and the surrounding area. In 2018, the Harris County Appraisal District lowered property values for flood-damaged homes, as one would expect. But then in 2019, they came back and thought they were far too generous for these storm-battered Houstonians, and said that the 2019 rate appraisals could be as much as 21% above the pre-Harvey values. So think about that. Your house floods, you scrounge together the money from family, friends, or loans to repair it, and then you're told that it's going to be appraised at 21% higher than it was before it flooded. It's really unbelievable. So up until now, the jurisdictions in the county got to appoint the members of the appraisal board, the directors of the appraisal board. But now the 50 largest counties are going to have the opportunity to elect 3 members to 4-year terms on these boards. And so now you get a vote in a way in saying and who's going to be on these boards this May. Well, technically, the election starts next week on April 22nd, and election day is on May 4th, which to make sure you early vote in this race. But you do get a say on the makeup of this body and how it determines your property value, in the same way that you have to say on the bodies that determine your tax rates. So you should take this very seriously. Because if you're complaining about appraised value, or if you're a renter who's frustrated with increased rental rates, or even if you're just simply a consumer, especially one who frequents small businesses, and you see prices going up there, much of that is driven by appraised costs and tax rates, which again are determined by appraised costs. So you might be tired of voting, but this isn't the election to skip out on. I mean, you really shouldn't skip out on any, but this one is particularly important. So thanks for tuning in this week, and please like and share it with your friends. Let us know if we missed something, or if there's something going on in your neighborhood that we should be covering.
So I hope you took something away from this. And if you did, make sure you tell a friend, a family member, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you see fit. And make sure you tune in for next week's episode of Texas Tomorrow.